Since you bring it up, I'll address my next question to you. Simon Drake has revealed himself to be a wizard, and in January he became the third most powerful person in the American Muggle government. Reports are muddled concerning events at Aberfoyle Academy last term involving Drake, varying wildly from Drake committed murder to someone was injured to nothing happened at all. Drake himself admittedly denies anything serious happening during term, and a large portion of the wizarding community have spoken out in his support. Is Simon Drake a boon or a liability to the wizarding community? How would you work with him or against him if that's the case?
Simon Drake is a murderer, a cold and ruthless sower of discord and division, and one of the most dangerous dark wizards our world has ever faced. It is not even remotely a question of boon or bane to our civilization. It is a question of whether the American wizarding community will be able to destroy him before he destroys us. Anything else is rearranging the deck chairs on the Lusitania after the torpedoes have been fired. Even never had matched the kind of power in the Muggle world that Drake will wield in the course of the next 2 years, and there is every reason to believe that he will direct that power against us. Let me state for the record what exactly transpired at Aberfoyle and illustrate for one and all just how far Drake's depravity goes. At the end of term, brandishing an unknown and unregistered wand, Drake disarmed the Aberfoyle faculty and subjected Clark Dowling to the Cruciatus Curse. He then executed the fugitive metamorph magus Persephone, not because of the threat she posed, but because she had not posed enough of a threat in executing his murderous schemes. He then attempted to murder the Aberfoyle head girl, Amelia Emberwing, whom he had previously kidnapped at Wand Point and held hostage. These are facts. Verifiable, simple, unadorned. And in the face of Aberfoyle's ridiculous charges, I will admit that Craven Bloodthorn threw himself in between that girl and the point of Drake's wand, and I commend that act! The students who watched Drake slaughter a helpless madwoman in the Great Hall of Aberfoyle have seen and told their parents of the nature of the menace. Anything but open warfare against Simon Drake with any and every available means will tell those children and their parents, and anyone else who so much as paid attention, that once more our government is not going to fulfill its most basic duty of providing for the common defense. This government will not conceal or minimize the actions of a murderous dark wizard while I have any say in the matter. I have already declared myself Drake's enemy. While there is a wand in my hand and breath in my lungs, I will seek to stop him, thwart his plan, see him buried so far beneath the walls of Alcatraz that they'll need a Muggle paleontologist to find him. If elected secretary, to replace the one who lapsed into a coma while warning of the deeper darkness to come, I will fight Simon Drake with all the resources of our government and our world. If I fail an election, I will seek to fight Simon Drake by any availing legal means, to quote, in the beaches, in the streets, in every nook and cranny of our world, and I will never surrender. No one who cares about our world and our citizens can do less in good conscience.
Senator Aberfoyle, your counterpoint.
With respect to the events of this past October, the facts as my opponent has recounted them just now are accurate. Simon Drake did indeed murder Persephone with the killing curse in front of the students of Aberfoyle Academy and attempted to murder their head girl as well. I was there personally and witnessed the shocking events myself. While the senator would have you believe that no one is more committed to stopping Simon Drake than he, let me assure you that I am resolute in my determination to stop his reign of terror before it can begin. I was deceived by Simon Drake just like everyone else. I worked with him for months as our Muggle liaison under the Muggle Cooperation Act. And yet I, just like everyone else, had no idea that he was secretly a wizard. The very idea of a wizard living for so many years as a Muggle to conceal his identity is so mind-boggling, none of us could have predicted it. That deception struck me so personally, so viscerally, that every fiber of my being resonates with it. I will do everything in my power to stop Simon Drake, to bring him to justice, and to prevent the calamity that he is attempting to set in motion. On that much, at least, my opponent and I can agree. Stopping Drake is the #1 priority for the new Secretary of Magic, no matter which of us wins your support. To do that, we must continue to work with those Muggle allies we can trust to isolate him as much as possible, and we must do the same among our own community. We must convince wizards and muggles alike to stand together in the face of this threat and refuse to allow Drake to divide us.
Senator Kensington, 3 minutes for rebuttal.
Drake never fooled me for a second, Polonius. Have a look at my opposition to an act my opponent actually did right. Introduce and see through to passing. I said that I didn't trust the Muggles enough to welcome them into our world, as Polonius still inexplicably remains so proud of having done. The problem I have with being utterly and absolutely vindicated in the event is that people have died, and our entire way of life is now in peril. My opponent then says he knows Drake better than anyone, and he knows then that he cooperated with him while smearing someone who opposed the murderous bastard right from the start. The man whose bloody hand you were so proud to shake is coming for us all, Aberfoyle. It won't be just a madwoman who dies when he attacks this time!
Oh, let's not pretend your opposition to the Muggle Cooperation Act had anything to do with a personal mistrust of Simon Drake, Kensington. Your own speech against it on the Senate floor was focused squarely on the danger that all Muggles supposedly pose to witches and wizards. It was paranoia, pure and simple. The fact that Drake is not, in fact, a Muggle after all was no more apparent to you than it was to anyone else. Don't pretend to be a sage about it. It's insulting. I do not mean to portray myself as a martyr by relating how completely I was deceived by Simon Drake along with everyone else. What I want to express more than anything is that the man is a master of deceit and is playing a long game. We must be prepared for literally anything he might do next. We must unite under one banner, wizards and muggles against him. I propose to you, the wizards and witches of America, that Kensington's mistrust of all muggles makes him unsuitable to lead this fight. Drake is fighting us on two fronts, and we must be prepared to meet him on both those fronts.
We know your difficulties with historical accuracy and simple comprehension, Aberfoyle, but you might remember that I voiced my distrust of Simon Drake specifically during our own debate over your act. And that was before we knew that the man you were leading right up to our throats was the most dangerous dark wizard of all time. I also opposed your law because I said it would pit us against the Muggles and the Muggles against us. As I said, I could think of better ways to be vindicated than what we have going on right here, right now. No, I didn't like Drake the first time I met him, and I said so to his face, to your face, to the entire faculty, staff, and students at the Avestrom Academy. As I got to know Drake, I distrusted him even more. I recall your attention to last October's morning Oracle account of the press conference I held the day before you all welcomed the murdering bastard back to your school. I can get someone to read it to you if you need that. You won't get an argument from me, or rather I won't repeat my own argument coming belatedly from your lips that Simon Drake is a threat more terrible than anything we have ever yet faced. But now you propose to be the man to unite us, you who almost single-handedly put us in this position in the first place. Even if you win the election, you have already fractured and divided us in ways that will take immeasurable leadership and skill to put us back to heel. And you lack both!
Gentlemen!
You conclude upon a wailing, discordant note of desperate despair that I mistrust all Muggles. Where were you, Aberfoyle, when my genius of a father proudly proclaimed his invention of the Kensington breezebreaker and found himself broken on the wheel of a hostile press, anti-Muggle hysteria, and the iron fist of the Wizengamot? Where were you when I competed, my wand back at Avestrom, against Muggles of my own age in my career in forensics and the school speech team? When I spoke of the damage interaction with Muggles can do, when I spoke of the threat interaction between our worlds can pose to them, I spoke from sad knowledge and justified respect. You are so far gone in your obsessive loathing of me, Aberfoyle, that you can't even analyze me rationally. That was the way you were acting when you impulsively threw yourself into this campaign.
There is only one irrational person in this debate, and that's you, Kensington. You are so used to political doublespeak that you really can't even keep your stories straight. We're supposed to believe that you're some kind of prophet because you took a personal dislike to Simon Drake before you knew anything about him. Can we always trust your snap judgments and prejudices to be right? I hardly think so. I agree that cooperation with the Muggles presents dangers to both sides, which is why the terms of the Muggle Cooperation Act were so carefully limited.
I'm the irrational one, Polonius? To reject a bad law, let's say the Pretend Act, is a mark of sanity, or genius, at least in one estimation, your own. We have both rejected that law. Now we have another law, one that you initiated and one that has actually killed someone. probably many more than we know of at this time. The expectation that continuing to support your act will produce a different result is the very definition of madness. All your act will accomplish is hundreds, maybe thousands of wretched muggles tortured to death, either to force us into hasty action or out of a simple lust for innocent blood.
Don't talk to me about innocent blood, Kensington. The most you've suffered from Simon Drake is a bruised shoulder. I was forced to watch him torture, threaten, and attempt to kill my friends, colleagues, and students. And let the record show that for all your accuracy regarding the events of last term, you weren't there!
That is enough! That is the last outburst we will have during this debate. This is a Wizarding Senate, and this belligerent banner will not stand. I will say this only once. Another outburst from either one of you, and you will both be removed from candidacy. Do I make myself clear?